Ferucio Lamborghini was born in Renazzo, in the Ferrara province, on April 28, 1916. The eldest of 5 sons, he grows up in his family farm where his father tries passing him on the passion for land work and agriculture culture. But Ferucio has a totally different take on his future, with a clear talent for engines and cars. After primary school, Ferucio attends the Professional Training Institute, Tadgia Brothers, an ever-since melting pot of Sentinese entrepreneurs. Once achieving the school license and despite the opposition of his father, who was willing to pass him over the management of the farm, he decides starting training in the workshop of a local master blacksmith, who shares with him the iron working and welding secrets. As since very young he is headstrong and stubborn, he finally manages to get hired by Cavalier Righi, owner of the most important workshop of Bologna. At that time the workshop was commissioned for the maintenance of the army's vehicles. This period, even though short, will be of great importance for the experience and competences of Ferucio. After the Bolognese adventure, at 18 years old he opens a workshop in Renazzo with his lifelong friend Marino Filippini, who he had already worked with at Righi's and who many years later would be employed in one of his factories. Always animated by passion and bravery, when he could, he would buy an old used car or motorbike that, once fixed up, could easily be seen driven through the dusty country roads. These were carefree and intense years that left a lasting mark in the character and personality of Ferucio. This carefree atmosphere is though abruptly shattered by the outbreak of the war. Ferucio was sent to the Isle of Rhodes, in the Aegean Sea, then Italian territory, and assigned to the 50th Autoreparto Misto di Manovra, reporting directly to the High Command Armed Forces of the island. Known as the Auto Centro, this unit was responsible for the maintenance and repair of all military vehicles on the island. The caporal-autier Ferucio Lamborghini immediately realizes the unique opportunity he has come across, to work with the most sophisticated tools of Italian and foreign mechanical industry. Soon after Ferucio is made head of the workshop department, but it is first and foremost his extraordinary intuition that consistently brings him to the center of any situation and makes him one of the most popular around. The bravery and talent of Ferucio in the engines area lead him to popularity and to the total trust of the commander, who also lends him his personal car to repair the brakes. Island life continues, marked by the tragedy of war until September 8, 1943, when all staff of the Auto Centro runs away from the city. But Ferucio can't stay away from engines for too long and he returns to Rhodes in civilian clothes. After doing a series of odd jobs, he later opens a small workshop with the permission of the same Germans who prefer to take advantage of his mechanical skills rather than imprison him. In 1946, a year after the war ended, he is free to return to Italy, but he is not alone. In Rhodes Ferucio met Clelia, an Italian girl from Ferrara, who he madly fell in love with. At that time Ferucio had clear ideas for his future. He wants to get married and exploit the incredible opportunities starting out in his country, which is just wriggling away from war and where a new air of freedom and enterprise is inhaled. Back to Italy Ferucio finds a very particular situation. Due to its geographical position away from the main roadways and infrastructure, the Sentinese area emerged from the conflict in better shape than many other areas, but agriculture is now in crisis, after being for centuries the major source of income in the area. At this time the market is dominated by Fiat, Landini, Motomeccanica, all of whom were still producing vehicles with combustion engines. Thus for several reasons there was plenty space for technological improvement. At the end of 1947 Ferucio Lamborghini decides to produce an economic yet powerful tractor dedicated to the peasants of the Bassa with their small farms. He purchases all kind of cheap surplus war equipment, improves the engine and the fueling system and produces a very simple internal frame. The Carioca tractor is born, introduced to the public on February 3 RD 1948, the day dedicated to Saint Biagio, patron saint of Cento Town. The degree of success is evident by the many farmers that admire, evaluate and buy the tractors. Thus, he decides to expand production. His father comes to his aid. In 1950 annual production reaches 200 pieces, the company employs 30 workers and administration is carefully followed by Anita, who Ferucio has married a few months earlier. In 1951 he has to move to a larger structure. Ferucio buys a 10,000 square meters field, once a racetrack area, and the first real production company is born, Trattori Lamborghini. At the beginning of the 50s the move from manufacturer to industrialist happens. The number of employees increases with the growth of production. The name of Ferucio is famous in the world by now and the atmosphere in the company is cheerful and relaxed. The production unit requires more and more space. The plant grows almost continuously. It is just before the economic boom and Ferucio has once again hit the mark. He has an uncanny ability to understand what people want a minute before the competition does. New products are projected and investment in innovation continues until, in the 60s, Lamborghini Trattori reaches nearly 400 employees and produces 25-30 units per day. The 60s confirm Lamborghini Trattori as a leader in the sector. The models launched on the market enjoy great success. The name of Ferucio is known worldwide and obtains important personal rewards. In 1959 during a trip to the United States, Ferucio Lamborghini visits a few companies that produced burners for domestic heating and immediately thinks of the Italian situation. As a result of the economic boom and the house, with all its comforts, is the most common evocative dream at the time. He noticed that the burners were a trend for the future, intended to replace coal-fired boilers for heating. Following accurate evaluation he understands he can withstand competition in this field and embarked on the burner adventure. He hires the best available technicians and in less than a year he builds a new plant in Pieve di Cento, Lamborghini Bruciatori Condizionatori. But challenges are to continue. He became very wealthy from his tractor business. Like anyone who comes into wealth, he bought several luxury cars, including a Ferrari. Lamborghini had a passion for cars, so much so that he began racing some of the cars he had purchased. However, since he knew quite a bit about car mechanics he decided that the cars he raced needed a little changing. When it came to racing his Ferrari, he noticed that it was much too noisy and rough on the road. Another issue with the car was that the interior clutch needed repairing often. During the 1960s, Enzo Ferrari's cars were the top of the line in luxury sports cars. Since he was so good a mechanic, Lamborghini decided to tell Ferrari about the imperfections he found in his cars. Considering Ferrari was the top dog of the car business, he didn't appreciate the young tractor mechanic telling him about the imperfections. Ferrari believed Lamborghini didn't know a thing about his cars, or cars in general. Allegedly, Ferrari told Lamborghini to his face he was just a tractor driver and a farmer, and he shouldn't presume to criticize. Lamborghini responded by vowing to build a better sports car than Ferrari. As already done for other products, he hires the best technicians from the competition and starts manufacturing a car that represents a dream for many car lovers. As a sign of the new company he chooses the bull, warrior, stubborn, never tamed, just like his zodiac sign. Once again Ferucio is successful. Soon the company becomes one of the first Italian manufacturers of Gran Turismo. His product is excellent, quality of cars is worldwide known, but admiration is extended on Ferucio himself. Simple, charismatic, charming and skilled, he immediately established a very particular relationship with journalists and colleagues belonging to the automobile world. In 1966 the P400 Miura is exhibited at the Salone dell'Auto in Turin. A fast, endurance, extremely innovative Gran Turismo impressed with a unique and unmistakable lifestyle. The results are amazing. In its category, the Miura is many years ahead of competitors' vehicle. From all over the world the most unlikely characters ask to purchase the car. Dozens of Miuras are ordered, cinema and music stars are competing to purchase one. All over the world this name means luxury and elegance. The Miura car is considered a piece of art and, indeed, exhibited at the MoMA in New York since 1968. The years of led 1969 to 1973. The end of the 60s marks the beginning of a new era inside the factories. For the first time Lamborghini Trattori is hit with a serious crisis that affects many sectors of the Italian economy. In the earlier years, Lamborghini Trattori carried out a radical transformation of the product that engaged most of the company from both a financial as well as organizational point of view. The number of employees doubled and a very large order from the Bolivian state was approved. But the political situation in the Southern American country suddenly changed following a coup d'état and the new government cancelled the order. As a result, in 1970 there are 5,000 tractors ready and hold still on the factory ground. The company is strongly marked by the presence of the trade unions and by strikes. Ferucio becomes very disoriented. In the spring of 1971 the crisis seems to slowly recede, but it comes at a high cost. The buildings, and only the buildings, are sold to Fiat, which is interested in gaining an opening in an area such as Cento, already rich in highly specialized manpower. Each employee is given a choice to either go to Fiat or to follow Ferucio in the new company located in Pieve. In fact, in 1970 Lamborghini Burners was transferred to Daso, where in the meantime a modern and large facility was completed designed to accommodate the increased production of air conditioners, boilers and burners, Lamborghini Calor. With the newfound liquidity gained by the sale of the tractors originally made for Bolivia, without carrying the high management costs and thanks to the support of the loyal workers, Ferucio seems reborn. However, he is signed by the years of crisis and in 1973 he decides to sell Trattori to Same, which he had handed over management a year earlier. The company he hands over is healthy, modern, with highly skilled labor force. The year before, in 1972 he takes another drastic decision. He sells 51% shares of Lamborghini Automobili. After deciding to separate from his companies, Ferucio starts looking for an ideal space, far away from the noise of the industrial world, to rediscover the relationship he had with land that had never abandoned him. He purchases a land near Lake Trasimeno, La Fiorita, and in 1974 he moves. Engaged with great effort in working on the estate, he turns an old cottage covered with holly oak trees into one of the most modern agricultural estates of Europe. He transformed the farmhouse, bought more land and finally called one of the most experienced winemakers in Italy and creates an absolutely innovative winery for those years. Initially Ferucio moves to La Fiorita to relax and to go hunting. But given his continuous entrepreneur tendency, soon he turns this land into a renomated farm, into tennis camps, swimming pools and golf camps. Here Ferucio lives his last years. He dies in 1993 surrounded by friends who daily visit him to remember the past days together and also project the future. In general, such is the wonderful world of these beautiful and mega cool cars, the wonderful world of Lamborghini supercars, which were developed by the son of an ordinary farmer and later a tractor driver. It is hard to believe that if it were not for Enzo Ferrari's rude words, if it were not for the clutch problems on Ferrucci's car, most likely the world would never have seen these cars, which today are the benchmark of luxury, success and beauty. I should probably add that all great things always start small. Friends, that's all for today. Write your opinion about this amazing story in the comments. And do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, where there will be a lot of new and interesting videos.